sound bad?
No, I mean rattle the cubes. Oh, how's your audio?
No, can you? Does it sound like something that's going to drive you nuts from an audio file? Like, no,
awesome.
okay.
That's awesome.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if somebody goes.
So we're just waiting on Fabian to join us, and so you're drinking whiskey on the rocks. Is that what you're having, or you got a mixer in there?
Yeah, whiskey on the rocks. This is amazing. It's like $90 a bottle, $80 a bottle. It's fantastic. It's literally this stuff is every bit. Maybe it's less than that. Maybe it's 70. I know that it's less. It's cheap enough that I feel arguably less guilty. less guilty than when I buy like the $120 scotch. Like take $60 off of that, and you feel a lot better about like drinking more than 2 glasses.
I hear you. Hey, so do you see this on Facebook? Are we live? I don't know if I
don't.
Joe, you don't see it?
I don't. Oh, you know what? I could probably Facebook with us.
All right, now it shows that we're live. Hey.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're still waiting on Fabian, but we can always get rolling here.
The best name ever, Fabian. It's like the best name. You know, I have to wait till he gets here because it's just the best name in the world. It's so great.
No worries. Hey,
where it shows up in movies and stuff. So awesome.
Let me see if that view works. Hey, so now we're kind of confronted. Did you click on the event? Well, it shows that we're live. Okay.
Would it be on your personal page?
Yeah, it would be on. Yeah, I see it.
Oh yeah, it's live. Yeah.
Okay, so hey, we're live. Welcome to Important Things with Beer. First episode.
I ran out of beer. I have some bourbon.
Oh, bourbon! Right on.
There you go.
Classing it up. Going up a level.
Just some.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with you, Yeekeng. Introduce yourself and just let us know what you're drinking.
Yeah. I'm Yeekeng. I'm an engineer at Paradigm Productions. I work under Jake. Probably a little bit over 4 years now. It's been a great 4 years working at Paradigm. I am drinking classy Bullet bourbon.
Right on. So here, I'm gonna put the comments on the side. Can you see the comments? Hey, Ben's with us. Steph's with us.
I don't know.
Thanks for joining us. Jim, tell people about you.
Where do you see all that stuff? Where do you see everybody's with us and stuff? All I see is you're in the show.
Well,
it's like
you're in the show.
Yeah, you're really in the show. I feel like I'm in what is it? Bull Durham.
Ah. So what are you drinking, Jim?
Oh, I'm drinking. Actually, if there's any Colorado, I'm drinking Stranahan's Cherry Cask Single Malt Whiskey.
Right on.
Right here.
I got
in my fanciest drinky glass type thing. This is a brandy glass, obviously, or snifter, whatever. But
snifter. When you're drinking out of a snifter, that means you're fancy.
Is that what it's called, a snifter?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think traditionally it was the big glass, and you'd swirl it, and like the heat from your hand would warm up the brandy, and so it was like the classy, rich people's way of drinking brandy. And it looks like Steph's drinking Veuve Clicquot. I don't speak French. Does either of you speak French? I know Jim pretends to.
I do not.
He's like, oh.
So we're still waiting on Fabian to join us, but that's all right. We can get rolling with this. So the whole point of tonight is to just have a conversation about family feasts. So whether that be Thanksgiving, whether that be birthdays, whether that be whatever holiday it is, kind of the crazy traditions, because this started with a conversation I was having with Fabian, and we were talking about crazy family traditions, and it was a blast. So I just wanted to share that and have a drink with you guys. So I'm going to start with the crazy family tradition. So I've got a Czech Swedish side of my family, which is my dad's side, and then I've got kind of a German Polish Catholic side of my family, which is my mom's side. And both sides, you couldn't be more different. So the feasts on my mom's side were always like potlucks. You'd always bring a dish, and it was always like casseroles and and veggie trays and like 4 or 5 different kinds of Jello mixed with fluffy stuff or fruit, and that was just like every feast was that. And Grandma would usually make the turkey. And then on my dad's side, and I apologize, Dad, if you're listening, but my Swedish grandfather loved lutefisk, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of lutefisk.
No, what is that?
Lutefisk is one of the most effed up foods in the world. So it is. Is it
ludicrous?
it's totally ludicrous. So it's basically a dried fish like cod that's preserved, and they preserve it. They pickle it by putting it in lye. Yeah, it's a white fish that they put in lye. So like ashes and stone, and then it just like preserves it, and then you rehydrate it for the holidays. So like you basically add it to water and it soaks it up. And I'm gonna just see if I can share this because this is a crazy thing. So it's basically like fish scented Jello, if you can kind of imagine what that would be like.
Gross.
Yeah. And so
fish scented Jello.
So Grandpa loved this stuff. Here, I'm gonna share that. Let me see if I can get it on the screen. That's lutefisk.
Yeah.
It's literally like gelatinous fish that was rehydrated.
So hardcore.
It's a Swedish delicacy. Apparently, someone's like, "This is so good. Let's have it for the holidays." And so that's my crazy story. So it doesn't have to be crazy like that. But why don't I start with you, Jim? Tell me about some of the family feasts of yours, and what you like, what you didn't like, what's crazy.
I've always kind of wondered about like the. I mean, it's not that. I mean, there was so many different. Part of my story. I mean, there were so many different parts of my family and so many different. Like my grandmother was married 4 times and stuff, so there was like 15 different grandparents from different sides. So it was one of those like you go to the grandparents' house. I had like 7 grandparents at like any given time, and so you could have gone to 3 or 4 different grandparents' homes at that time, and they all came from different kind of groups. So I mean, there was a wide array of stuff. One of them that I remember that was fantastic. I remember one of them was it was the Jesus birthday cake. That I used to like Christmas. That was so great. The thing was, it was like literally. I think
it wasn't shaped like Jesus. It was an actual birthday cake for Jesus.
Exactly.
Okay, got
yes, it. But the beautiful thing was this. It was a Jello cake. So I don't know if you've ever heard. Like I'm sure you've had. So what they do is they take. It's just a regular like a white cake, and then they put. They like poke holes in it, and then they put Jello. Different colors of bullet and stuff in it, and then they get it cold, and you basically put whipped cream on it, and that's it. This is not rocket science, but it was like one of those like really good cakes. I remember that being like this thing. What I always wondered was like lutefisk and green bean casserole are right in there at the same place. I don't understand it. What is it? Do you?
It's tradition, man. Tradition. That's So think back. So in the case of my Swedish grandfather, think back 10 generations. You didn't have food in Sweden in winter. You can't unless you hunted deer. There's nothing to eat, and so you like dig up the dried fish in the backyard, and you're like feast. Let's feast.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know which one's less edible.
Well, Jello.
It's either you eat lutefisk or you go raid the English for their supplies.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, but I mean, lutefisk and green bean casserole. Green bean casserole is. I don't get it. Why would you? Everybody. It seems like everybody eats that stuff, and I think I need to have like a version of green bean casserole that's actually good because I've never had it. And I was a single. I mean, I went to all the potlucks with all the sports things, and like everybody, like there was always like 6 parents that brought green bean casserole to the potluck, and you're like, really?
Yeah, because it's that good.
Maybe it's just easy to make.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Yeekeng? What's like a family food feast tradition?
Oh yeah, so we have the the typical. Turkey and mashed potatoes and mac and cheese, and then of course we mix in the Hmong food in there too. So it's basically the food we eat it's the same as any other big family gathering, except with turkey and mashed potatoes added in there. So we'll have so we'll have like egg rolls and papaya salad, and then we'll even mix in maybe maybe one year someone will make brats, and then sometimes Thanksgiving will be like a whole weekend kind of thing where people stay over the night of Thanksgiving, and then we'll have like pho in the morning. So every year it's a little different. It depends if people stay over. We'll just eat the regular Thanksgiving food, and then we'll have the Hmong food mixed in there, which is, good to have that variety of food in there. And then, of course, like every year, I have a huge family at both of my mom and dad's side, so we basically
how huge is huge? How big?
So each side probably at least 100 people. My dad's side is a little bit smaller, but my mom's side is very big.
But you get those 200 people together for a feast?
No. So look, I was gonna say I'll have 3 different dinners.
Gotcha.
Some years, if it's a good year. So like we'll get together with my mom's side one day, and then my dad's side one day, and then we'll have just like our immediate family too. So
sure.
Some years you'll have like 3 dinners.
And they're all huge. They're all like twice as big as what a dinner should be.
Yeah.
Well, you're not far off from like the German Catholic side of my family, because like it would be grandma's house, and like you had nowhere to go. Like the basement was like kids zone, and like there was dogs freaking everywhere, just like dogs running around. You're like, roo, roo, they're getting stepped on left and right, and it was a blast. As a kid, you're like surrounded by cousins, and like from like 10 years younger than you to 10 years older, and you're shooting pool and playing ping pong. And like, at grandma's, I could have soda. That was the thing. You could have sugared soda at grandma's.
Dude, were you a Wisconsin though then?
Yeah.
So jolly good.
Oh yeah, frick yeah, jolly good.
That was it. I mean, you're too young to. I mean, even if you were in Wisconsin, you're too young to remember jolly good. But
I don't know what that is. No.
Oh my God.
They're making it again.
It sounds familiar.
But it doesn't matter because it's wrong. They didn't put the joke inside the can at the bottom, so they had to. You remember that?
You're looking in the bottom of the can, going.
That's the only reason they drank this stuff. I mean, it was crappy soda, but it was. Well, I mean, I guess I don't. I mean, it's not like I was a crisp soda back then. It was like whatever you could, something that had fizz and tasted like sugar, right on. But I remember the best part about it was that they would see. You'd put a joke on the inside of the can with some cancer causing ink, I'm sure, but they put it, and you'd have to, which is probably why it's not the bottom of the can now. And you'd have to like line it up because you're always at a picnic or something, and you have to line it up with the sun just right so you could get part of it, and then you'd have to shift it to get to the rest of it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway. So what kind of ink can withstand the acid of a soda? Like a Coke will dissolve a 3-inch nail in like 4 days. Like you put it in a Coke, it'll be dissolved in 4 days. So what kind of ink can withstand like a 2-year shelf life of Jolly Good and sitting in the can, all for the joke?
Wow. It was so good though, and it was a terrible joke, but it was worth it.
Yeah, it was like jokes you wouldn't even repeat,
Yeah, exactly. Never.
Was it like a cola kind of soda?
Every flavor. You could get cherry, you could get orange, you could get grape, you could get root beer, you could get ginger ale. Yeah. So they had like white soda, which everyone's like, it's white soda. It's like Sprite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was. I mean, they even had. I mean, they had like things that were, like takeoffs, like Dr. Lumbar instead of Dr. Pepper. I don't remember. I don't remember what the names of these things were, but like,
they're all takeoff. Yeah. So Fabian Franco James is like in the chat. Fabian, why aren't you in on the call? Get in here, man. All right. Yeah. He says his mom makes the best mac and cheese in the oven. 34 slice, 4 layers. I'm down with the mac and cheese,
slice.
Man.
Oh my goodness.
36
nice.
Yeah.
So by slice, is that American cheese? Is that what you're putting on there? Or is that what mom's putting on there? Or is it like cheddar or something?
Because they come in those 36 packs.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a whole pack. Do you peel each one and put it on top?
It'd be worth. That'd be worth it, wouldn't
good.
it? Like,
I kinda
and
gotta
it's
try
not
it.
like in like a 1 quart dish too. It's probably
Exactly. It's just you might maybe forget the macaroni. You just melt cheese in a dish.
exactly. Yeah.
You brown the
Just
top and you serve
a
it.
macaroni on top. Just
That's
like
good enough.
Just like the
for
song.
Wisconsinites.
Exactly. And beer.
Yes. Oh, and beer. Oh, so hey, I didn't tell you what I was drinking. So I was just finishing a little mini cocktail. I get these like 4-ounce glasses, so I can have cocktails, and I can be like, oh, I'm gonna go make another one. Like you have 3 cocktails, and it's like the equivalent of 1. So this is my self-regulation glass.
I like how the show's called With Beer, but none of us are
No.
drinking beer.
No,
Oh, you are. Okay, all right.
I have a can of Batshit Crazy that is from a Milwaukee brewery. Really good beer. So this is it's like a dark. Go ahead, Jim.
I used to live next door to some people in Broomfield, Colorado, and they had this. I went over for a birthday celebration, and they had this dish that was, and it took me a while to figure out what everything was that was in it.
Mhm.
But from what I can tell, it was rice, all kinds of like. Well, no, maybe the rice wasn't actually in it. Maybe you ate it with the rice, but there was all kinds of these incredible like spicy spices and stuff like that, and carp and
yeah,
and snails.
Interesting. I've never heard of that before.
No.
No,
that was the best thing I've ever had.
I mean, thing, but
someone was just trying to get you to eat some shit there, Jim.
Oh, it was. I'd eat that every day of my life. I am not kidding you. It was the best food I think I've ever had. I mean, ever. It was so good.
Interesting.
Carp is a really interesting thing because carp you can smoke it, and then did you know that a lot of the gefilte fish in traditional Jewish cooking is actually carp? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have known?
Who would have
invasive carp that are all in our lakes and rivers.
No, but the invasive carp is different.
Oh, is it different? Well, see,
yeah.
so my brother is a lake scientist, and he was helping a guy with a carp where they like zap them, and then they get like thousands of them up. They find them in the winter because they all kind of go to one part of the lake, and they zap them, and then they all come up. And there was these people like, we'll take as many carp as you want, and like filling trucks with carp and taking them off to the factory to go pickle them or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, actually, the carp the Asian carp are whitefish. They're not bottom feeders. The mouth is on top or something like that. There's some like I read about it, and like there's like you could I mean, if you could start marketing these things, I mean, you could make bank. I mean, because they're like jumping into boats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Fabian, I see you're still in the chat, man. That's great. Click on the link in your email, and you can join us. You can be on the stream with us. Otherwise, I can't get you to join. All right. So, hey, I want to switch topics to other traditions. So, like, when I think about like my mom's side of the family, the guys would all go hunting. Like, I'd stay back with the ladies cooking, and it was usually grandma in the kitchen who kind of ran the show. She was the boss, and like she had like a bunch of like second in commands, a bunch of second in commands. My grandma was the only woman I knew that had 2 ovens in her house. She had 2, so she'd have like turkey going and casseroles and all that stuff. But like we'd hang back and play games and stuff. The kids would hang back. Some of the kids would go hunting too. But I don't know. Tell me about other things that you guys did around the time. Like, what were you celebrating? What kind of events do you celebrate? Obviously, Thanksgiving and
Hmong New Year's usually around Thanksgiving time, so that's kind of baked into the Thanksgiving festivities. So it's funny because like every year, me and the cousins and my siblings would go to Hmong New Year, and most of the time like we'll have a little bit of fun, but after a while it gets kind of boring. And then, but our parents still want us to like just stick around. But then we had an uncle where he would keep his house open. So whenever we got bored, we'd just go hang out at his place because his house was like the house with like all the movies and all the games. Like, he has the cool uncle. Yeah, the cool uncle with like shelves and shelves of movies. He was basically at one point, so many of us were like borrowing his movies. He basically put on a list, and he'd basically be like the movie rental place for the family, and so like you'd have to check out what movie you were checking out. So that's just one memory I remember, just like getting super bored at the Monier, just wanting to go home, and that was just kind of part of the whole Thanksgiving experience too.
So who made the food? Did everyone kind of make the food and contribute, or was there pretty much one person?
Yeah, most gatherings for my family at least are potluck. So especially Thanksgiving and Christmas. So everybody brings their own dish, and there will be multiple turkey dishes available, even though they're all like the same. It's just shredded turkey, but everybody, like some people will have their own flair on it.
Sure.
Like everybody in my mom's side will agree that my grandpa makes the best turkey. I don't know what he does to it, but his is the best every year. So yeah.
That I've heard that like chefs, and I mean like big chefs that chefs who do it professionally, that there's like 2 dishes that they can say are their dishes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They can make it with their eyes closed. They know where in the fridge and freezer to reach and what spices to grab. They can just do it with, all by feel without measuring anything. And I think that the holidays bring out that where, everyone kind of has that one dish they make or something like that.
Well, the funny thing is my grandpa on my mom's side, he was actually the personal chef for General Vang Pao in the war.
Wow.
So
yeah.
He was the personal chef for him. So he had to be very careful on what he cooked.
Yeah.
For the general.
Did he have to like eat it in front of the general and stuff like that?
I don't know about that. He may have had to do that a couple times. But it kind of tells how much trust they had in him to cook the food for him.
Wow.
Did he have a lot of turkey or what?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know when he got really good at making turkey, but
well, I mean, you're that good. You can be good at just about everything every time. I bet he was pretty good at pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's awesome. Hey, Jim, what about you? Who made the food in your family for the feast?
Well, it all depends on kind of like when, what point in my life, I mean, I was really little. I guess all the cool get-togethers that I remember were the ones where my granny would make all the stuff, and she would make like everything. I mean, she was always the one making all the stuff. Like she'd make all the coffee. You'd show up and there'd be everything was already done. I mean, I didn't learn how to cook at all from her because everything was always done by the right. She loved doing that. I mean, that was kind of her thing. She just sat there and she made all of the stuff for one of the things. Oh, that's a story. So she used to make. There was a place in Wisconsin called Wilburn's. Okay, and Wilburn's was this restaurant. I don't think it's there anymore. But anyway, so there's a place called Wilburn's, and Wilburn's had this thing called they had these meatballs. Okay, and they were like a cocktail meatball. It's like a dinner club. So you'd have these cocktail meatballs and
a fancy toothpick kind of meatball.
Right. Exactly. Yes. I'm making them. So the thing is that nobody was ever going to be able to get the recipe because there's no way in the world that they'd ever share the recipe. Blah 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 blah. Right. So apparently, I mean, the story goes in the family that my grandmother was so beautiful that she somehow finagled. She like put like her beauty made the owner of the Wilbur give gave her the recipe because she was so beautiful. If it wasn't for so anyway, we ended up having that recipe. We were the only group for a while at least that had it. But and I think all of our relatives were royalty and everything else. So who knows what the actual story is.
That's awesome.
Tell us.
So I think about it depends on the side of the family, but it's usually grandma on both sides. But then I think about my Czech grandma, and she was a baker. My great grandma was a baker. She had the permanent position with the hunched back and the hands. It's like she was just kneading dough constantly. She'd turn around and she'd move her hands. It's like she was just kneading dough. She did that for half her life. So she would make these little. Have you guys ever had kolache? Kolache? They're like it's like a tiny little pizza almost. They're like between a pizza and a cookie. So it's like a bread, a pastry. It's like a little bread that you kind of bring up the crust on it, and then you spoon like fruit in the middle. So there'd be like apricot, or prune, like plum, or poppy seed. There's a few different flavors, but those are the best.
Is it like a cup or more flat?
It's flat. It's flat,
Okay.
like those little tiny mini pizzas you might get at a bar or
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
And they're about that size. But then they I don't know if she put butter on it and usually sprinkle sugar or maybe glaze it with the sugar. And those were the best damn things. That's like, I gotta get that, Dad. If you're probably not on here, Dad, but I gotta make those with you and learn how to make that. Those are the best. So we would like dig through. She'd make a big batch of them. She probably worked on them for days. We'd dig through and like find all the poppy seed ones and eat them. I probably wouldn't have passed the heroin test back then because I was eating so much poppy seed.
Wait, so how big? Like you're talking like circumference, like 10 inches wide?
No, you can make them bigger, and they had names for the different sizes, basically. And I've had collage that were about 6 inches, but usually they were about like a cookie, like the size of a cookie.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but then you said bar pizzas, and I was like, "What is that? I don't understand."
So yeah, those.
Where do you eat your pizza? What bars do you go to? Do you eat these tiny little pizzas?
I don't know. I'm thinking like appetizer, little mini pizzas, but I don't know. Maybe that's not a good analogy. Maybe cookie is like a better analogy,
like little raviolis or something. Okay, yep. All right.
And I'd like to point out that was my grandma Vi. She's the one who made the lutefisk because my grandpa wanted her to. It wasn't that she was a bad chef and she's like, let's make fish flavored Jello and enjoy it. She was a freaking amazing chef, but then she'd make fish flavored Jello when we came over.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's I think I've been to people's houses where they don't do clam chowder very well. Or is it clam chowder? What is it? Oyster stew. The oyster stew that like during the holidays where people like bust out oyster stew, and sometimes they're really not good at it, and it tastes really bad. And they're like, "Here you go," and you're like, and you're trying to figure out how you're gonna wolf this down somehow without like.
See, that's where the potluck comes in. Where when you got a potluck, you can just be like, "Oh, I'll just go. I'm gonna get some more," and then you just like cover it up with something else. Yeah.
Right, but I know, but invariably it's one of the times when somebody like goes, "Oh, you've got to try our oyster stew," and you're like, "Oh, okay, great." I mean, for anybody that's out here, never pick something that's that. I mean, if you're gonna have a family dish that you want everybody to make it like a cookie or something like that. It's something that somebody can physically wolf down if they have to, even if they don't like it. And you eat something that's used around seafood. Come on, like you got to try our recipe of lutefisk. No.
Okay, so gross. I'm going to move on to gross foods. Is there anything absolutely disgusting that or maybe I wouldn't say disgusting, absolutely unique that someone makes in your family, and you don't have to call them out, or someone enjoys? They put something weird on their food.
Yeah, usually the older folks in my family, they like the really simple, very traditional foods, like just like straight up just like boiled chicken, like whole boiled chicken, feet, neck, head, everything. My dad loves eating chicken feet. So boiled chicken is like one of the simple ones, and one I usually don't like to eat. But I remember as a kid, I was super into dinosaurs. I still am, kind of. But like I would chase around all my little cousins with like the chicken foot, acting like it was like a dinosaur claw or something. That was the only interaction I've had with chicken feet. Is just chasing my cousins around with that, but never eating it.
Like Jim Carrey, the claw.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can think of a funny one that was actually a little more embarrassing for me. And when I was first dating Jody, and I went up to like one of their family, I don't know if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it was, but we had a feast, big old feast. And Jody's mom's a great cook, and she makes 5 times as much food as we need and all that stuff. But her dad is into this Limburger cheese, and I'm like, I love cheese. Yeah, throw me some cheese. And so I get this piece of Limburger cheese. Have either of you had Limburger?
No.
Yeah.
Do you like it, Jim?
Jim do likes it.
Is it a strong cheese?
It's really stinky.
Cheese. It's really stinky. And basically, I have heard that people say it kind of smells like feces. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's because of bacteria that's in your gut is what's used to make Limburger cheese. And so I put it in my mouth, and I swear I had put like a piece of a dog poop in my mouth. And I'm sitting there like I just met my future in-laws, and I'm like, and I have this in my mouth, and I'm absolutely repulsed by it. And so what I did, I choked it down, and I forget what was on my dish. Whatever it was on my dish, I just like chased it with it, and like,
chased it. You use turkey as a chaser.
Yeah.
So for like 2 hours afterwards, I could identify the point in my GI tract where that cheese was. I could just feel it. And I'm like, it's right here right now. Now it's down here. And that night, it was a rough night, but then next day was good. And Dave is more of a man than me for being able to eat that. I am less of a man than Dave. Let's just say that. Let's get funny.
That. I have a similar story, but with an alcohol. It was not too long ago, maybe a few years ago, and I just turned 21. It was at Thanksgiving after I just turned 21. So at that time, I was just like, yeah, I'll drink anything, whatever. This is the year I'm drinking. So I had a distant uncle one Thanksgiving just passing around this alcohol. Oh, you want to drink? You want to drink? Just passing around to all the guys. I was like, yeah, I'll take a shot. I was like, what is it? It's just rice wine. But I downed it, and it like burned. Like it was after I like stuffed myself too, and it burned my throat and like just burned my chest. I'm like, are you sure this wasn't like Everclear? It was like burning.
Oh, man. Like a distilled rice wine? It wasn't like sake.
No, I don't think it was sake. But I don't know what it was. He just said it was rice wine, so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll drink it. And it was not a good time.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. So was there a downside to it besides that? I mean, eventually they've gotten fun, right? I mean,
yeah, eventually
from a Wisconsin perspective, how bad was it?
Pretty bad for someone who just started drinking, I guess. Maybe it has no effect now. I don't know.
Exactly. Now that you spent 4 years drinking in Wisconsin, what rice wine?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think about that stuff, and it's like I know some families that they're like, we all go out to eat, and we have this traditional, and I love going out to eat. I love eating, as you couldn't tell by my physique, but like those family get-togethers, is a blast with all the crazy food and the different stories, and you always had that one uncle who told the same damn story every time you saw and you love it. You come to expect it. You're like, hell yeah, tell me the story again.
No, don't smoke that.
Do you ever like go out and play football or anything like that on Thanksgiving? Do any like go for a hike or anything like that?
If it was warm enough, maybe. I can't remember a time where like it was like I can't remember a specific time. I'm sure there was some times where we got to play outside, but I can't think of like a specific time.
Gotcha.
I mean, if this is just surrounding, but just this time of the year holidays, I mean, but I mean, our family kind of hinged. I mean, it was always kids that went out, and everybody else kind of like stayed in the house with all the rest of the family that was up from wherever, and probably getting hammered or something like that. But so the kids would all. I mean, we would just grab lawn darts, obviously.
Oh yeah, lawn darts.
Yeah.
So Yeekeng was probably born after these were outlawed. But are you familiar with lawn darts?
Guaranteed.
No.
So there's these big darts with a big metal tip on them, and you'd put like a hula hoop out, and it was kind of like horseshoes or like cornhole, like the beanbag game. Except with these giant metal darts.
Yeah, they were like a foot. They were like a foot and a half long.
Oh my god!
And a handle and a big heavy tip so that it would always land tip first. But then what parents would just do is the parents would like let the kids play with them, and the kids would take them in the backyard and there was kids like going into the ER with like a dart in their head.
They're sharp.
Like, really sharp.
Oh, well, they were There was like having a nail on the end, kind of like a blunt nail, but it was
throw them high enough. I mean, so the dart end was rounded at some point. It was rounded, but it was about. If I remember, I mean, from a kid's perspective, it seemed like it was probably about maybe a 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch wide, as far as diameter of
a heavy metal object. That if it came down on the top of your head,
but it was probably Yeah, but it was probably 1.5 pounds worth of steel. But what you would inevitably do is just throw it straight up in the air. Boom! How high can I get
Look
this?
out! Everyone clear!
Yeah, and then the sun would get in your eyes, and you wouldn't know where it was. Who knows where it could come down? I mean, and you'd be all the kids would just dive out of the way from where they thought that it was probably going to land. I mean, yeah, it was mortifying. Yeah, as a dad now, I think Ben go, what the, you know. But yeah, I mean, it was generally
kids doing making something up for something it wasn't intended for.
No, for sure. Yes, no, this was like the pornography of lawn sports.
and you can almost picture like that company, like, they didn't have a lawyer. They probably had like some friend who was a lawyer, and they're like, it'll be fine. Just put a warning on the box. It'll be fine.
The age is 6 and up. I mean, they know better. Don't worry about a thing. It's all going to it'll wash out. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? What is this OSHA thing they got anyways?
All right. So, hey, I really am upset that Fabian wasn't able to join us. He got in on the stream.
Me too.
We'll do this again, and we'll get him on it because I'm really looking forward to that. But you guys come up with any concepts you want to talk about. So I want to close with what the hell there is to be thankful for in effing 2020. I can start this one. I will absolutely be thankful for technology. It has kept us. It is like it is like the super glue that has held together the world as of this point socially. Because we're able to do so much stuff, even just work. I mean, I'm able to do a lot of remote stuff at work. Jody's able to be here and working from home. All the kids are doing school from home. If we didn't have this, think about this. When we were kids, Jim, like if we had like a pandemic, we would have just been like, playing in the sand and climbing trees. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, getting rid of. I mean. Okay, I was gonna start off with the nerdiest answer that could possibly be. I mean, to the question, yeah, that you win, Jake. There's no way that isn't the nerdiest answer ever.
Hey, that's my job,
technology, man. Bro. Technology. All right. I am so thankful that I can email anybody, bro. For real. No, I mean, no, I get it. I get that. But like, I mean, right? Okay, but I mean, we're talking about two people that came literally like from chalkboard days. You didn't even probably have chalkboards. You don't even know what a chalkboard is.
I know what a chalkboard is.
Oh, you do? Okay, all right.
I'm in that weird generation where like I've experienced the old stuff too, but like grew up with the new stuff.
So
that wasn't gonna
whiteboards.
Yeah, that didn't give you like points at all. Like going, we got the old stuff. You could have said any other word.
Now that Jake mentions it, I do remember having more whiteboards than blackboards. So now that I remember, I grew up in the whiteboard generation.
Racist.
Okay, so what are you thankful for? What in this crappy ass year that has sucked in so many ways? What are you thankful for?
My sister's wedding still happened. We just had a small, just immediate family thing. And then my best buddy's wedding happened too. And then Jake pretty much said the rest of it. I mean, again, I'm gonna go with the nerdy answer, and technology's definitely helped us a lot.
Awesome.
Especially with the studio, like, and we just opened up the new location, and then the pandemic hits, and we're like, we don't got anything going on. But then we were able to work on that audiobook beginning of pandemic, and that helped us up.
Yep.
So yeah.
So obviously thankful. I mean, I have been so fortunate that the people around me, we have been COVID free. I certainly know people who've had it, and I certainly know people who've really, who it's been very tragic for. But wearing a mask from day one, even from before it was cool. That makes a difference. Jim, what are you thankful for? Let's close it with you. You get the final word.
Yeah, right. You don't want that. Yeah, probably technology. That's probably that's
You can be mushy, man. You can be mushy.
Hey, look. Hey, I didn't say it wasn't. I didn't say that. I'm just saying that I'm glad you said it first. It's yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for it, I really. I mean, what I'm really thankful for is just. I mean, I'm really thankful that there are people out there that are doing so much, and we're starting to understand the value of the people that are out there on the front lines, the first responders and things like that. The people that are considered essential, etc. I mean, I'm considered essential at some level, but not like essential, not essential. This is, I mean, I have to keep working, but that has nothing to do with reality. I mean, the reality is there are people out there that are doing, and that's what I'm thankful for all those people that are being recognized, hopefully, for these jobs that they're doing. Yeah. That's really, that's not, that doesn't fall in line with the humor of it probably at all. But I mean,
well, hey, you know what? I told you I'd give you the last word, but I want to piggyback on that. So then kind of tying it back into the feasts and the family, like time with family when we're able to the family that's, you know, that you're able to see, you appreciate it so much more. And I think 2020 has given us all that appreciation of, man, that time that we get together is precious. So.
What a thing, this perspective now. This is old, I mean, we're old. And we have the same this new perspective just like everyone else. I mean, it's just like, what the heck, man? The perspective thing, dude. I mean, I mean, I haven't had my hair cut in last February.
Oh man!
Since February. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not gonna get cut either. Yeah, right. Yeah, it looks cool.
Hey, Franco says we are thankful. We'd be lucky and safe. I'm drinking Miller and popping Bailey's original ice cream. Great show. Love y'all. All right,
nice.
David, we'll have you on next time, man.
Yeah.
So
that's the final word.
And yeah, absolutely. That's the final word. Let's leave it there. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you joining us. Appreciate you talking about that. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with whoever you get to be with. And if you don't, enjoy the time when you get back together with them.
Yeah. You too, Jake. Thanks.
Thanks, Jake.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a good one.